Good morning.
Good morning. It's 2 in the afternoon. This is no time to start work.
I'll come back later then. Good afternoon.
Oh, come back here. We've got a lot to do today.
Why?
What?
Why?
Well, I've bought a sheep property, haven't I? Got to get everything sheep shape. By the way, have you met my son?
How do you do?
Not that one, you fool. My son is... Where is he?
Does he like swimming?
He doesn't know how to swim. What are you talking about? Can you swim?
Actually, no.
Neither can I.
He wouldn't be swimming then.
Of course not.
We'd better get him out of the swimming pool then.
Swimming pool? What are you talking... That's not a swimming pool. That's where we dip the sheep. My son's not in there.
Well, not on the top, but he was a minute ago.
Yes, well... Oh, what? Oh, there he is. Roger, stop bobbing up and down in that dip. You'll make it all mucky.
I want to get out.
I should think so.
It tastes nasty.
Oh, serves you right. Get out of it. Come on now. We have to start dipping the sheep.
I haven't been introduced and I'm all wet.
That's the understatement of the year. Oh, this is my son, Roger. This is Mr... what is your name?
Whopple, sir.
Of course it is. Never forget a name.
How do you do? Are you going to work here?
I was your father's chauffeur when he was something in the city. But now he's bought all these sheep, I'm afraid he won't want me.
Nonsense! Rams can't drive cars. Neither can you.
Well, I do my best.
Oh, shut up. Roger, get over to the 40-acre paddock, round up the sheep and bring 'em back here. Quick, isn't it?
The gate was all rusty and I couldn't open it.
What a shame.
It didn't matter. There's no wire in the fences.
Well, that's awkward. There's no wire in the fences.
No.
So you can't keep one lot of sheep separate from another.
No.
So you won't know which sheep have been dipped and which haven't.
Oh, yes, we will.
How will you tell them apart?
One lot will be all wet. The man's a fool.
Is there enough water in there?
You ought to know. You were in it.
But I'm not the same as a sheep.
No, but keep your hat on just the same.
I can calculate the amount of water in there, approximately.
Well, how much is there? Approximately.
Well, it's about so long, so wide, and probably that deep.
Approximately.
So, if we call the volume X and multiply the quotient by the divisor over 2 times the length of the diagonal, the answer should be in gallons, approximately.
What a propaganda! Never mind, let's get started. It's going to rain. Get away back!
Where shall I go?
I'm talking to the dog, you fool.
Isn't there something we should put in the water?
There's all sorts of things in it now. Bits of barbed wire and lots of nasty nails sticking out. No, I cut myself.
Oh, what a lachrymose lout. Stop your blubbering and start putting the sheep in.
Oh, aren't they heavy? Oh, I can't lift them.
Oh, well, you don't do it that way. Start them running down that race.
That's not fair.
What are you talking about?
It isn't a fair race. There's only room for one at a time, so the one in front would have to win.
Oh, go and make a cup of tea.
I'm sure we should put something in the water. There's a lot of tins here.
What are they? Read the labels.
HARTS Supreme, 400 arsenical, Super Sheep Dip.
Oh, they'll do. Put 'em in.
What, all of them?
Well, can't do any harm, and we can't be here all day. It's starting to rain.
Aren't sheep silly?
What do you mean?
They're drinking their bath water.
Oh, must be thirsty, I suppose.
I've boiled the billy.
But we haven't got a billy.
I used one of the tins you just emptied in the dip.
But that might have arsenic in it. I don't think I'll have a cup, thank you.
I won't have a cup either.
I've had one.
Well, don't start blubbering again, and stop slobbering.
It just occurred to me.
What?
Why are we dipping the sheep at all?
Why are we dipping the sheep at all?
Silly of me, I suppose, but I just wondered.
Tell him, Roger.
I don't know.
Neither do I. I haven't the slightest idea.
Well, do you think...
Come on, pack up. That's enough for one day. Busy day tomorrow. Can't waste time doing things for no reason. Come on, Roger. Roger, get up. Roger!
Well, that's one thing we know. It does have arsenic in it.
I don't suppose the fellow on the other side of the record is going to be very much interested in the price of wool next season. He won't ever get around to shearing, even if he has any sheep left to shear. But for those of us who certainly will be interested, just how many mistakes were made by that crazy would-be wool grower? See if you pick them all. Of course, he started off well on the wrong foot, like this.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's 2 in the afternoon.
Bad mistake number 1. Dipping should start early and be well over by midday. The sheep should be dry before nightfall. Now, if we ignore the inadvisability of falling in the sheep dip, what was the next wrong move?
Oh, that's awkward. There's no wire in the fences.
That's it. Dipped and undipped sheep should be kept separate. Good sheep-proof fences cut down the risk of reinfestation. And by the way, dip all the sheep on the property at the same time. Make it a complete muster. Next?
I can calculate the amount of water in there, approximately.
Not good enough. Accurate measurements are important. Know the exact capacity of the dipping bath or tank and have a measuring stick handy. This is one job that can't be done by guesswork. What was the 4th serious error?
Never mind. Let's get started. It's going to rain.
Then you shouldn't think of dipping. The weather is most important. Even light rain after dipping, before the dip has dried on the sheep, will carry the fluid onto the skin of the sheep, resulting in scald and arsenical absorption. This can be fatal. And scald can also result in a wool break. And don't forget, sheep dipped during bad weather could all get pneumonia. Get a weather report before dipping. There are other important points about the weather too. Your distributor of HARTS IMMUNOL can help you there. Check your knowledge against his chart, which clearly sets out all you should know about dipping. Now, next mistake, please.
Isn't there something we should put in the water?
There's all sorts of things in it now. Bits of barbed wire and lots of nasty nails sticking out. I cut myself.
And so would the sheep. Yes, mistake number 5 is a bad one, and surprisingly common. Cuts are dangerous and absorb arsenic. They also encourage germs and infection. Get rid of anything which could cut or bruise the sheep. Otherwise, you could have an outbreak of blackleg at the very least. Mistake number 6.
Oh, aren't they heavy? Oh, I can't lift them.
Oh, you don't do it that way. Start them running down that race.
You don't do that either. Sheep should not be rushed through the dip. If they get on top of one another, they may cause drowning or gulping of the dipping fluid. Sheep should be in the plunge dip at least half a minute and should be ducked once or twice to see that their heads are thoroughly wet. But it is important not to start ducking until the sheep has had time to breathe. Otherwise, it may not be able to help gulping the fluid. Take it easy. Now, what was mistake number 7?
I'm sure we should put something in the water. There's a lot of tins here.
Well, this suggests more than one mistake, but we'll be lenient. A lot of thinking should have been done about what to put in the water, and it's too late to start working it out when the sheep are mustered. See your HARTS agent and discuss all of the arsenical and non-arsenical preparations with him in good time. We said we'd count this as one mistake, but listen.
They'll do. Put 'em in.
What, all of them?
Can't do any harm.
Oh, no? Oh, brother. And what about that business of not knowing why the sheep are dipped at all?
I haven't the slightest idea.
No, you haven't. Have the sheep got itch mite, body lice, keds, foot lice, face lice, blowfly strike? What do you use if several of these things are present?
I haven't the slightest idea.
Well, I doubt if even the agent for HARTS IMMUNOL sheep dips could help this fellow. But at least he could tell them the answers. The HARTS man knows what to advise, and the sensible man is glad to get reliable advice. Still, let's get on with mistake number 8.
Aren't sheep silly?
What do you mean?
They're drinking their bath water.
Aren't sheep silly? What about the man who would dip sheep when they're thirsty? Sheep should be yarded overnight before dipping, with easy access to plenty of non-mineralized drinking water. Next, on second thoughts, that's plenty. We haven't covered them all by any means. For instance, these chaps handled arsenic as though it were instant coffee. And while they may not have been any loss, the sheep would be lucky to live through a day on that property. Because dipping is one job that must be done right. Have you seen the chart we mentioned? The chart that shows very clearly all you need to know about every aspect of dipping? Have a good look at it next time you see your HARTS agent, right? Now, because no one could really be as silly as the team we heard making all the mistakes, they would like the opportunity to show you that they really do know a thing or two after all. Maybe they learned something from what we've been saying. All right, if you've got some good advice for us, let's hear it.
For lice and mites and keds and flies.
For parasites of every size.
Get famous immunol sheep dips from HARTS.
Be sure the time is right to dip.
And just to be sure there is no slip.
Get famous immunol sheep dips from HARTS. No matter where your property or how many sheep you pen, there's one thing you should bear in mind when dipping time comes round again.
When you dip, do it right.
Get every louse and take and mite.
With famous immunol sheep dips from HARTS.
So see your agent right away.
Get that order off today for famous immunol sheep dips.
Famous immunol sheep dips.
Famous immunol sheep dips from HARTS. That spells HARTS.